Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and probably good night to someone who's going to go to bed. My name is Jose, and welcome to my channel. For those who are new, my name is Jose, and I do what I like to coin as micro-astrology, where I go into a lot of detail with my readings. I know that sometimes people don't really like that because it's like, maybe there's too much, but that's the way it works. And I've enjoyed every moment of it, giving specific readings with or without a birth chart, surprisingly, and where it actually spans out how do you call this? It's microastrology can be used for other disciplines in astrology, which I love. It's just like, oh my goodness, it gives a lot of detail. At least for me, and that I'm open to it. I've been always trusting it. So it depends on your vibration if you're open to it, let alone astrology or anything like that at all. It depends on how receptive you get. If you're not receptive, you're not receptive. If you are, you are. And that's how it goes. So it all depends on your energy and your beliefs. So what I'm going to do, all right, I'm a little dusty today. So pardon me ahead of time, just a little mini disclaimer there. But what I'm going to do today is actually something that sparked my interest earlier. I was watching a video with Emilio Ortiz. He is, oh, his name actually pops up. So he thinks it looks like it's been around the block now. Okay. This one is on the Stargates. When I was watching this video, it was actually the second interview that Ortiz did for Perez, this guy named Ismael Perez. And he was talking about the Stargates, and I thought, ooh, where are those? So I looked it up and I saw a couple, not a couple, about, what does it say here? Two, about 9 of them that I found. Some I couldn't find because according to data, and yes, I did use AI, cheated, and they gave me certain dates. So based on what the system gave me, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Um, so I used specific asteroids and one dwarf planet pertaining to portals. Stargates, same thing, very similar thing. The first one I got here was Antarctica. And I haven't read through the chart actually itself. And I didn't know where to start with this one because if I'm basing it on Antarctica in terms of like where it might be, um, I feel like it's tied to the overall body. Usually it might be tied to Mars, but let me double check something here. You know what? Because I base it off of traditional astrology, or not traditional astrology, standard astrology. And I'm trying to figure out if there are no houses in a chart, which planet would it be? See, usually it's the first house, but people might say, oh, isn't that Aries? Or isn't that Mars? I don't know. Uh, I would say it's something to do with more with the moon. Let's double check here. Let me do a quick switch here then. It's something to do with entrances. Uh, Trying to figure this out. Technically, it should be Pluto because it's not the spirit itself. It's going to another dimension. It's regeneration, right? It's going to another place. And what portals tend to also represent is you're transferring, you're moving to something else. So it could also be Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, either one of those three, but Uranus is more about the breaking of something. So I would say either Neptune, between Neptune and Pluto. So I would look into both. Right, that answers my question. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. So if you were to look at specific asteroids tied to that, I'll share with you the chart actually right here. Let's see what we can find out together. So this is Antarctica. So Neptune, is there anything tied to Neptune or Pluto? Okay, there you go. Pluto can be that. It looks like it might be a small Stargate because it's in Virgo. Makes sense it would be connected to directly to the Earth itself. But you have Sirona retrograde, Hathor retrograde. And that also explains that it is small. It's a small Stargate. It's said to be Stargate 1. Let me double check the note that I got here. Yeah, Antarctica is 1. Sarasota is number 2. Okay, got it. Okay. So, yeah. So there you go. That's the answer to the question. That's the one. So, but with Sirona, Sirona, there's that song. Okay. Um, yeah, it's submergence, emergence, untapped knowledge. So it's okay. It has a lot of chi in there. Sacredness, it's holy, it's divine. It feels like a place of like where, yeah, it's transformation. Okay, got it. Um, there are probably twists and turns in this Stargate, right? It says astral projections, celestial objects. Okay, illumination, twinkling. Okay, got it. Okay. Um, a spring, maybe source of water there too. Might be a hot spring. Oh, that's interesting. Good for bathing. There's something about here. There's this theory that I read somewhere that in center of Antarctica, it's actually warm, surprisingly. And I believe that's because of the portal. Okay, that totally makes sense. Um, Spirals or fertility. Okay, got it. So there's probably like spirals going through that. Maybe there's to get there, maybe you go through spirals. I don't know. It probably is surrounded by something because I'm seeing here tiara, scepters, or something like that. It is guarded. So there's that whole scepter thing. Flowers there. There might be certain animals like serpents, snakes, dogs there. As guards, maybe energetically at least. Maybe it's good for Reiki as well. Good to get probably pregnant there. Not, or rather to give birth there. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, and not saying that people should look into that, but yeah. Hathor, something similar to that. It's life-giving. Okay, there's a multi-directional part. There's something about multi-ness about it. Temperature, okay, so it might that explains the warmth that I saw earlier. Okay. Again, regenerate, empowering. There's something about fertility there. There's something about that. It's coming up again. It's a sort of a transmutative energy, something about sexual power, that motherliness, divine feminine, I would say. Something about that. Maybe there's something music related as well there. Oh, I don't know if it's tied to the near-death experience. So it might feel like a near-death experience going through there because you are literally, you can leave your body, or rather you feel like you're dying and then you come back somehow and you get transported or something like that. Might be tied to twin stars. There's something about nuclear fusion there, stellar evolution. Okay, something about that. Tied to water as well, naturally. Okay, it is Antarctica, but there's something about that. Something about original sense of life there, original something life. I don't know what it is. Okay, so that's Antarctica. Great. We confirmed the first Stargate. Thank you. And then the next one is Sarasota. Let me go into the files here. Neptune or Pluto. Abnova right there. It's conjuncted right away. I saw it and I was just like, okay. There might be a way through. Um, I don't know if this is a sextile thing. If one has to force oneself through there, if there's some sort of like, I don't know if it's tied to ego or something like that, because Mars here is in Leo. Maybe there's something tied to if you feel your pride, you have to work on that. I would say to get into that. Because based on this specific chart, the Mars sextile Pluto or sextile Abnova here shows that there's something sort of an effort has to be made. But it also could be that it's I don't know what it is. Something to do with flames or something to do with going into the cold to the hot, something like that. This is Sarasota. But Hathor is here as well, conjunct Mars. But Mars isn't even about that. So I'm going to go straight into Abnoba. Abnoba. Okay. It's more natural. Okay. It's through Gaia, it was a divine connection. It was a divine formation of that, I would say. It could be healing as well. There's a lot of humidity are probably there. This is Florida. That totally makes sense. It's a region by a river, so some drains, sewage way passage. It could be mountain. You could get there probably by mountain. I'm seeing here, maybe through valleys or hills. I haven't been there before, so I don't know. Something about trees as well. Something about it being close, being in the area of jungles, caves, hilltops, maybe quite serene areas. Animals there might be canine species as guards, probably. There might be also definitely guarded for sure. That one's very guarded. Okay, it could be in a dark location as well, in a huge acre of land. So there's a lot of space between it, and maybe people don't even see that it's there. Okay, settlements. Okay, it was probably founded originally by hunter-gatherer societies. Um, so there's definitely something really natural about it. It might be through networks. It might be found through networks somehow. Maybe through a connection of people. Let's see what sign that is in. Pluto is in Gemini. So there might be a networks to the mind, mental energy. There's some sort of like to get there, you have to probably release that. Pluto here is you have to release that. It's like a death of the mind. So something about that. Again, it's small though, but it is retrograde, or at the very least, it's private. Okay, there's something about music as well as included there, surrounded by all four elements. So, right, earth, fire, earth, air, water. Okay, that's the abnormal right there. We confirmed it right away. Okay, at least for me, that's a confirmation. Okay, what is the next one on the list? Bermuda Triangle. This one was tricky because all I got was that it was what's called inscribed, like, or rather it's linked to the triangle, but it's not necessarily that. It's Bermuda itself. However, let's see here. We have core series conjunct here. It's it's trying to Mercury abnormal. But Mercury is more of a mental thing. Could be though. I wouldn't necessarily say that it actually is um portal per se in a way that is more obvious. It's probably like through a mental portal. When I say mental, I mean starts that way, agree through telepathy, communication. Maybe there has to be more words expressed, but it is in water, so it's water based here. But Ceres here and core conjunct right here, showing me that it's trying. It would be easier to get through it mentally first, than then 20 degrees. This one's tricky. I don't see anything here. We do have Sirona conjunct in the North Node. So it must have been a portal back then. And it's kind of, I feel like this one's because it's tied to Pluto here, it's small also, but then you also have Neptune. So it's in the water, it's deep into the water. You see Neptune here, it's retrograde, so it's showing that it's hidden, it's private, but it's also deep into the water. You can see Nova is also in the water here, and Pluto here is in Earth. So it's something to do with being underneath maybe water. I'm seeing this sort of, it's like a hidden, seeing this sort of, it's almost like you know those lakes that are not lakes but they're inside Earth. It sort of feels like that. If I were to look into to Bermuda Triangle, it's just Bermuda Triangle, just water, right? So it is deep underwater. That only makes sense, but it's something to do with maybe something hidden, like in the Earth itself, underneath the water, if that makes sense. Because you have Pluto here, sextile Neptune, and Pluto here is also actually, but core is trine abnormal Mercury. And Pluto here is actually, where is it? But Pluto is square Mars, the sun. So that to me feels like it's guarded and just sort of like hidden by the military, hidden knowledge maybe, or maybe the military itself cannot find it because there's challenges. It's a square there. It totally makes sense. But the fact that core series here retrograde is conjunct to each other, not even the south node, but rather you have Serona conjunct north node. It could have been a portal before, or rather maybe what it was intended, or we believe it is. It's tied to Mercury here in Abnoma. Um, but the fact that it's Serona's conjunct to north node means that to me, and also Saturn, is that it might be hard to get there to, it's not really open yet. So there's something about the structuring of it that is not necessarily hidden, but it will be. It's something that is intended to be a portal, if that makes sense. Okay. Next one in line, the Giza Plateau in Cairo, Egypt. This is the list that I got from the interview. So let's take a look at this one. So this one is inscribed. So they don't know the exact time because, it's that old, right? But from what I'm seeing here, right away I get, you see this? Pluto conjunct Sirona. Right away it tells me that's what it is. But this one is through legal systems. It's through people. There's some sort of like, you have to get through people. You have to get through legal systems in order to access the portal, which totally makes sense because it's a Bermuda Triangle, right? You have to be in harmony with the process. It's actually trying the moon here, which is interesting because that means it has to be somewhere at night, it has to be somewhere near water, or it has to be somewhere where you are in touch with your inner self, surrendering. And that moon Pluto conjunction tells me that you have to feel into it, but it is through the mind, but it's more through the electromagnetic energies of the body, probably through the nervous system, or you have to calm down the nervous system in order to actually even get to it. Okay, where's Neptune? Let's see Neptune. Hmm. Well, that's what I see. Yeah, it's confirmed it's a portal. Or rather, I'm not saying I don't believe what Perez said, but I wanted to see it for myself. All right. And the next one in line is Machu Picchu. Great old Machu Picchu. Also inscribed in this case, Neptune, Neptune trine Serona right there. It's a portal. Again, it's small. When I say small, I don't necessarily probably mean it's small. It's could be. Um, but it's tied to more the earth and the fire element here. It is in Sagittarius. Um, but it's interesting. Neptune here is sextile Pluto. So that means there has to be some sort of effort made to actually connect to it. This one's somehow going to be connected directly to actually surrendering to the emotions. Maybe some sort of shadow work related stuff. I don't know what it is. There's something dark about it. When I say dark, I don't mean like negative. I'm just saying you have to go into your darkness to go into the portal itself or the Stargate. There's something about that. I don't think there's anything else. There's an yod to Chiron. and Pluto and Neptune. So yeah, that totally explains what I just saw there. Yod to Chiron Neptune shows to me right here. I don't know if you could see the yod. Right here. Oh, that's not it. Right here. That yod shows to me that um, release of possession, releasing of any sort of expectations and boundaries, any sort of like thing you might have, you have to release that. In other words, you really have to surrender in order to even go to the portal itself. There's something about that there. Um, but I'm seeing it somewhere. It's like a kind of like a gate. I'm seeing this image of like it looks like an actual doorway, but it's like it's shrinking. I'm seeing it shrinking and it's changing sizes. Okay. So I feel like it fluctuates. That explains the water part here. But again, because it's intensity and it's in the anoretic degrees of Taurus, and this one yeah, here right here is less anoretic degrees of Sagittarius. So there's something about the fire and water in there. There's the earth I mentioned earlier, but that's not what it was. It's in fire. So that means that there's some sort of intensity that needs to be put in terms of how you release your boundaries or negative beliefs, or rather limiting beliefs, or even some sort of hesitation or apprehension or apprehensiveness or resistance toward it. If you want to go through the portal, you have to release. That's what I'm getting here. That was fun. That was cool. Okay, what else? Moscow. This one was interesting. Moscow? Moskvia. Moskvia. Sorry, the text didn't catch it. All right. Very similar to the Machu Picchu for some reason. It's very interesting. It's very similar date, isn't it? Let me go back here. 1983, December 9, 1980. See? Super, super the same way. It's the same thing with Moscow. Very similar to Moscow as well. Um, the moon might have made a huge difference though. The moon could have been also part of this one. So there's something tied to the emotions where if we allow ourselves to gradually go through the process, in Moscow, it's a little bit more about the people. I feel like it's tied to the people. There's something about allowing, there has to be some sort of collective. I feel like there's some sort of collective belief for it to be even accessed. Okay. It can't just be entered individually. That's what I'm getting here. Okay. Lake Titicaca. That's Stargate. Oh, that one we didn't get anything in. Stargate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like Stargate 6 and Stargate 7. There's nothing on it. That means it's really mysterious. Which is okay. Mystery is a good thing. Tibet, the other one here is Stargate 8. Neptune, Pluto. The closest one I can think of is Sirona here, which is actually opposite the moon, which would also mean that it might be. mm, it's through the people again, but it's more like then people would have to integrate it. So collective would have to be integrated into it. Or at the very least, it would have to be um entrance might be kind of a hard thing to get into. There might be some sort of lessons that have to be learned and to get into it. You might have had to learn through your own emotions to actually access that portal or let alone that Stargate. Because it's in a foreign location. Meaning when I say foreign location, not because it's in Tibet, but foreign to when you feel there. So there has to be a trust in the process as well. You have to be completely free as well. It's very similar to any Stargate sort of thing, I feel. I feel like there's something tied to that. Um, oh, okay. So the moon is also here, it's quincunx Hathor and the sun. So it must be that there's something what the government was trying to get into, but they probably could, but they probably sometimes didn't. But it's not absolute. It is trying to Mercury here, so there's also a mental connection to that portal or that Stargate in Tibet. It's the Himalayan region, by the way. Stargate, this one I did get something out of this because it's Iran. I have the chart of Iran. Okay. Right away when I saw this, I was just like, oh, Sirona's in the first house. 7 degrees, 6 degrees. It's still there, but it's part of the body. But let's look at Mercury. Is there anything tied to Mercury? Mercury's trying to Uranus. Mercury's tied to Jupiter here. It's a grand trine here. The only thing I can think of is Sirona, but if we were to go back to the Neptune thing and Pluto thing, is there anything connected to them? No, because Sirona here is in Cancer, so we have to go to the moon, but the ascendant often refers to the whole body itself. But that would be the entire country of Iran. We're just talking about portals. I would say it's still Pluto, opposite of this. Okay, so that means that the government would, any sort of leading body or authoritative figure would have to integrate themselves into the process. So accepting that maybe they can't access that, it's hard to get into. It's retrograde in Libra. So it's the people that would be able to access it. People that is in, for those who are the quiet few or the ones that are not, it's not out there yet. Um, let's see here. Do we have anything conjunct? Series. Is this series connected to, what is this one? Sorry. Venus is conjunct, is trine Sirona, and Sirona is, okay. So there's something about, I don't know if it's really tied to the self-worth of the individual who would be getting to this, tied to like their sense of value, sense of service to be able to get into this. I don't know what it is. There's something about placements of the, because Sirona here, right? Sirona here, 7 degrees is actually within 5 degrees of the second house. So something to do with financing and I don't know what it is. Maybe there's financing involved in the actual trying to get into the Stargate, or there's some sort of like something related to the banks or financial system. Maybe it's blocked. Serena is square to Sun. Oh, okay, there you go. So the government has a hard time actually accessing it. Yeah, if they were able to, they run into challenges. Okay, but core here is actually. Oh, okay. Core is it's trying the series. Uh, that just explains the portal. But Ceres is conjunct the south. No, so this was originally definitely a portal, Stargate for sure. But it was originally through water. So there's something about being able to access it through water. With the north node here, is it square Neptune? Okay, the north node square Neptune. That could also explain the portal or Stargate. Um, it would be hard for any sort of like individuals who are, or companies or organizations or collective or individuals who have are too realistic. They need to be able to release um, notions and illusions or delusions about what this really means, that it can be something that maybe to access it, you have to go beyond your point of view of what you believe is portal or door or Stargate. Okay, probably a little harder to get into. It is a high vibration. The further we go into these, the higher the stargates, the more, yeah, it's higher vibration. It's higher dimensions. 6, 7, 8, 9. Stargate 10 is in Stonehenge. Right away, Neptune is opposite of Nova and the moon. So that means again, there's something to do with the people. Um, Transcending would be the option here to get into that. You have to integrate not transcending or escaping. This is a very Neptunian thing as well, but not transcending per se, like escaping from it, but really honing what the ego, the healthy ego, has. to go through in terms of the emotions. So when if you were to be too much in depth with your emotions and you're really in the lower vibration stuff, I wouldn't getting into that. It would be quite hard. It's actually also small, but it'd be harder to get into. There's challenges with it. It's abnormal retrograde here, but it's interesting because Neptune is actually, is it similar to 1980s? Oh, just a few years after Moscow and Machu Picchu. Mm, but it is sextile to Pluto here. So there's something that tells me that, again, this has to be, you have to go into the depths of your being and to the actual truth of your core to be able to move even past that egoic state of being where it's separative, rather more like a healthy ego co-created, if that totally makes sense. It's trying to the moon. So that means that it's emotions, but also how the people can actually probably access it. But to get there, you have to go deeper into your inner self. That's what I would see here. Okay, and then last Stargate. Oops, that's not it. Last Stargate is in southern France. This one also was challenging. I couldn't get anything here. Okay, not yet. So that's what I got. Okay. So I hope that was insightful. I hope that gave you some, because I think that was really cool. So these are confirmation that these Stargates are in these specific places in the world. I didn't get to specifically say the details of like where things were, if how you can find them and all that stuff, but that's yet to be revealed. There's so much I can only fit in about like 30 minutes, because by this time people are like snoozing probably. If they are, that's fine. If they're not, great. But I think that's about it for now. If you have any questions, let me know. See you guys later. Have a good day.